right, today we are going to create some May flowers with texture. So this is what it's going to end up looking like. We're going to use some tracers to trace. You're going to use a pencil, and you're going to have to get these 3 flowers to fit on your piece of paper. So you can share these with other kiddos at your table. Since you can't trace all 3, someone else can trace the other 2 while you're tracing this one. Trace 1, hold it still, and then you can let someone else use that one. And then you can trace your next one. Make sure you get them pretty close because you don't want to run out of space. So I'm just going to get them nice and close. I'm going to use my pencil. When you trace around something, you have to kind of go slowly so that you really get the shape. And if you accidentally move your tracer, that's okay. And then I've got that one. Someone else can use that one. And I've got a little bit of space here at the very end just to squeeze in my last one. After you've traced all 3, oops, see, I just kind of went too fast right there. I like doing this one. It's like little rainbow hops. You're going to take a black crayon or a dark crayon, and I want you to just outline each one of those lines so you really see those edges. That's going to help you when you do your texture to see the edge of your flower. You're going to use these rubbing plates here in a second to add the texture. And now I can take my rubbing plates. So remember when we used these before with our fish, you're going to put the rubbing plate underneath. You're going to take the crayon and lay it flat so it's just flat on the paper, and you're going to use that to fill in your space. Now, I don't have to fill in the whole thing, so I'm kind of keeping it still. If it goes outside the lines a little bit, that is okay. And you can kind of see that filled in that really nicely. So now I can do something interesting. I can turn it. I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to kind of cross. That looks kind of cool. Almost looks like a basket. And I love seeing how these colors layer on top of each other. So when I do these, I kind of keep turning it in different directions. And maybe someone else wants to use this one. You can say, yeah, sure, I'll be done with it in a second. You don't have to keep it for very long, but you can fill up your flower with your textures as much as you want. It really looks cool if you get a lot of colors inside of there. And I think I'm almost done with this one. I might do a little bit of another color. All those lines kind of cross over and it creates this really kind of almost a basket weaving, like a netting texture. And then I would do the same thing to this one and to this one. After you've done that, you are going to cut these out. You're going to get a blue piece of paper. Of course, we need to write our name on our blue piece of paper and our teacher's name. You're going to cut these out and you are going to glue them to your blue paper. Now you might decide you want to have this all the way on the ground. You might decide you want this high up in the sky. You notice how I'm being careful cutting these out. You don't want to go too fast because if I go too fast, then I might accidentally cut something that I don't want to cut. And sometimes this one's kind of tricky because curves are a little bit trickier. I got to cut and turn my paper slowly at the same time. So now I've got one flower done. It almost looks like a cloud. I'm going to take my glue stick. I'm going to put a little glue where I want it. I'm going to push it down right on top of my paper. Your green is going to be for your stems. You can create stems that are curvy. Maybe you want to have a curvy stem. You can create stems that are thick or thin. This one's a little bit curvy. I kind of think that looks pretty. So I'm going to take my stem. I'm going to put some glue on my paper. That way I just don't get it on my table. I'm going to glue it down. I have this extra hanging off, so I just want to cut that off. I don't need that. And I've got one flower done. Now you might decide to add some leaves. Maybe you want to curl your leaves. Let me show you how I made my leaves. Kind of create a little teardrop shape. If I use my pencil, I can curl these around my pencil. And it creates this kind of interesting curve to it. And I can add that to my flower. All right, and then you can work on your other ones, and that looks kind of interesting. We're gonna add more details next week, like some grass and some ladybugs and maybe some of these centers. But for today, we're just gonna make our flowers, and if you have time to make your stems, you can make your stems too. And that's it.